Hi, Jeff Sturgeon. It's Halloween 2023. I'm on East Beach, Marestone Island, where I live now. Looking over at that big container ship heading up Puget Sound, or down, I should say, to Seattle. About 40 miles out. Another beautiful sunny day. There's Mount Baker over there with a boat hauling ass. But I sit here for a minute before I start my walk. I did a bunch of videos yesterday, which I'm not going to redo today. A lot of information to convey, and I didn't get it all, so I'm going to try again today. And this will be a series of videos I'll do as I walk. I've had a year that I've had like no other. Of course, my friends and fans know that the house was sold in my studio. My last show was MissCon in May. I'm not going to go into any of the personal things along those lines or hardships of friends this year and people we've lost. It's not what these videos are going to be about. It's going to be about what's happened to me over the last, since June. So the intro. I left MissCon. I came, of course, back to Seattle, dropped Corwin off, and I headed south. I was going to camp my way down the Cascades and go down and stay with my good friend Jeff Frentel and his new wife Lisa. That boat is just hauling ass past that tanker. What that is? Military. So I left the beginning of June, right after my birthday. Camped on the southeast side of Mount Hood, up a pretty remote area. I like to solo camp. Here's some quick background. I've been a lifelong outdoorsman. I grew up back in southern Indiana, hunting, trapping, fishing my whole life. I still fish. I'll be salmon fishing this week. I consider myself kind of an expert at fishing, camping, and being in the outdoors. Like I said, I camp remote at all possible, away from campgrounds and people. On this trip south, I went down the east side. I like going down 97. Camped on Hood. The next night I camped on the edge of Crater Lake National Park. Very remote, except for the mosquitoes. Never experienced a night quite like that with the mosquitoes. It was insane. And then I decided to come on down and go back to a lake in Northern California. I went to high school and college and kind of grew up in the Redding area. And see if I could get back to this place if it wasn't too snowed in. One, I just wanted to get off by myself and kind of think about the last few months that had been pretty rough. Reassess things, as you can imagine. Anyway, this place is pretty remote. My friends and I have camped at it for many, many years. And with the heavy snowpack, I wasn't sure I could get back there. The road leading back, as I went farther and farther back, had some pretty big snowbanks. As I climbed in elevation, I got to a point where I couldn't drive anymore. So I got out and walked the road which was, impacted with snow and ice, to see if it opened up beyond before it dropped down into this lake where we camp. And no, it didn't open up, but as I was walking around, now you're going to scoff at me, but my close friends who have seen the evidence feel differently. But I found massive tracks leading up out of this valley in the snow and ice, up out of the valley that no one had been in since the summer before, or the fall, I should say. "17-inch tracks." I took photos, I shot video. Spent a great deal of time walking up and down, talking about them and examining them. I spent the night up there, about 6,000 feet up in the snow, wondering if something would happen that night. Call me crazy, dangerous, I know, but anyway, I did, and nothing happened. Speed up, I went on down and stayed with my friend Jeff and Lisa. Contemplated what had happened. Making plans to see my sons the following week for Father's Day and then do a family ceremony. Long overdue. There's a bald eagle right there. They're all over up here. That's Mount Baker over in the distance. Zoom in on that real quick. The White Watcher of the North, they call it. So I picked up my son Corwin, spent a few more days with Jeff, played with my band, our band, that I get to play with when I'm in Reading, the Irish Creek Band. And then we went to Eureka, where I met my other son Duncan and his lady Steph, and we spent the weekend, did the family ceremony, and we had a great couple of days, memorable. Corbin and I went on up the coast. Duncan and Steph went up to Mount Shasta and up to Bend and up that way. Corbin and I spent 3 wonderful days deep in the Rogue Wilderness. 20 miles from nobody. Very relaxing. Here comes that bald eagle. Right over me. And very relaxing. Just a wonderful place, deep in the wilderness. Miles from anybody. In contrast to what's going to happen to me later. I'm going to do these videos in 10-minute increments. We've got about another minute. I take Corwin on up to Seattle, drop him off. I spend a week at Leslie's, house sit for her. I stay at Barbara's, my other ex-wife. And then I head back down south. At this point, I've been given a gig by a good friend of mine in LA. At this point, I'm not going to talk about names or places. And I had time to kill, though. The gig wouldn't start till August 1st, so. But I had some information on the project, and I wanted to get to some places where I could camp and think about the project and do some concept work. So I headed south. again. And I'm going to stop this video at this point. The Series B called Shasta Expedition. And I'll be back in a minute. We'll continue on.